Do you feel like you're putting in a lot of effort into your practice, but still frustrated with the lack of results that you're getting on the guitar? This could very well be because every time you learn a new skill on the guitar, you stop at good enough. On the surface, it looks like you're doing all the right things, focusing on one skill or technique at a time, and then moving on to the next thing once you feel like you're decent enough at it. What's really happening is that you're wasting the majority of your effort on learning multiple skills well enough, when that same amount of effort could be used and should be used to take one skill to a high level before you ever consider moving on to the next thing. The goal is not how many things that you can learn to a level of just being able to do it, most of which you'll forget before you know it. The goal is to learn as many things you can to a high level where these skills and techniques can be used in a musical context for the rest of your life. Well, you might be wondering, how do I know when I've taken a skill to a high enough level? I recommend asking yourself a few questions. Can you perform your new song mistake-free? Can you successfully use your new skill or technique in a song? How about when you're playing with other musicians? Can you confidently play your new song or use your new skill in front of other people? If you can't answer hell yes to any of these questions, then you aren't ready to move on to learning the next thing yet. Many guitar players make the mistake of thinking that in order to get good at the guitar, they need to learn everything there is to know about it as quickly as possible. The more you know about the guitar, the better you play, right? Wrong. This thinking is what leads players into the dangerous trap of feeling pressured to quickly move from one thing to the next because they think they can cover more ground that way. We somehow believe that if we can just get each thing to the point where we can kind of do it, we will circle back later and really give it the time that it deserves. The problem with this course is that later never happens, so we're left with a collection of half-baked skills that don't add up to much. Notice I say we. This is exactly what I went through when I was first learning the guitar. I used to think that if I put enough effort into learning 10 different things every day, I would see my skill level evenly improve at those 10 things. Well, you can guess what happened with that plan. The problem with not taking a skill to a high level, if you're not consciously making something a priority in your life, your brain won't either. Therefore, when you stop at good enough, you're basically telling your brain that retaining this skill isn't important to you. So your brain doesn't push it to the subconscious level for easy retrieval later when you need it. How many times have you worked on something for a few days and then 30 days later you can't even remember where to start? This happened to me for 2 years until I finally realized how important it is to learn one thing really well before moving on to the next. The goal is to prove to your brain that each and every skill that you're learning on the guitar is important enough to automate it for you at the subconscious level. Think about how foreign driving felt to you when you were first learning to drive a car. Once you proved to your brain that you were serious about learning how to drive, it began to automate the process of driving for you. I bet now you don't even think about driving when you're doing it. You just, do it. This level of automation is what we want. We want to get so good at each skill on the guitar that your brain doesn't need to spend energy thinking about the mechanics of doing it. It just does it for you. The trick to getting to the point where your brain will automate something on the guitar is by putting in enough repetitions so that you can play something mistake-free at a much higher tempo than you really need to. Being able to play a song that is normally at 110 BPM at 130 BPM makes it seem really easy at 110. This is what I call headroom, and it is vital to your success as a guitar player. Headroom isn't just about speed, it's about mastery. When you know that you can play something much faster than you need to, then you have the confidence necessary to start playing real music. This level of mastery is what will allow you to perform at a high level, even when factors like nerves or sweaty hands are vying for your attention. Headroom gives you the freedom to play with the emotion needed to create a truly memorable performance. If you're struggling with your technique, you're not really making music. You're essentially still practicing as you're playing. When your brain has completely automated the skill or technique for you, you are now able to connect with the other musicians that you're playing with and ultimately with your audience. When you're able to get your focus off of your technique and connect with others while you're playing, you're not just a guitar player anymore. You're a musician.